we have a guy with the elf machines. I mean, it was kind of funny for some time, but what's the relevance to actual life? But what's the relevance to actual life? But what's the relevance to actual life? But what's the relevance? Yeah, I know it's recording, man. I'm just going through, because sometimes I'm also, I'm hanging like in the air. Because I'm being confronted with so many options that I'm beginning to lose track of what to do. I have changed the settings on this camera. And last night I did a lot of stuff, recorded a lot of art, all kind of unexpected, but seemingly necessary. So one thing I do, or I have started, is to air out my mattress. I mean, it's already kind of aired out, right? And then you put it there. Okay. Right, there's all these things in my mind trying to get my attention. It's like people sending you messages, but then not responding, hoping you will sit around and worry about them or something. And the thing is, you actually used to do that. Sit around and worry about these things. Until you said, I think I'm done with this. I think I'm not interested in being your pet any longer. But then you may find yourself in a position where you are alone a lot of time. And so what I'm talking about, losing Terence McKenna's way, just gonna heat this up. This is black tea, and this is some bitter herbs. I don't know, I just bought this thing called Gobiap tea, bitter gourd. You can brew it into tea. I don't know, man. Gourd. Now I'm actually also smelling coffee, but I'm not sure that's such a good idea. First I have to start warming up. Okay. Every time I wake up, I feel a little stuck. And then sometimes I do things just to keep me going or to get me going. But then you also have to make an effort, right? So one step at a time seems to be what's working for me. Right, I've been starting to grow plants. I moved them to the bathroom because it was too cold. Plus here there is more moisture. Yeah, so sometimes I'm actually reluctant to give in to sleep because then I feel like I have to work hard to stay on top again. But I made yesterday actually quite a necessary choice. And this choice was to simply not eat the bread I had prepared, but to simply have like some kind of like a feta cheese and olives. So instead of stuffing myself unnecessarily, simply ate a small meal, recorded a podcast episode, and then just crashed into the mattress. And that at least worked for me. Now I feel reluctant to actually sit, because often I start to feel weak. Now today there are several things I have to do, so I simply keep myself busy at the moment, but that is sometimes overwhelming if you know what you've planned. So I have a lot of apples that need moosing, and for that I need a bigger pot, because this pot, yeah, that doesn't work. And there is a bigger pot, so I have to go to my parents, right? So I have to go to my parents. So what I'm doing right now is actually getting ready to leave. So I just have this in the bag. And that in itself is a challenge, but it's also my way away from, I'm just gonna name it some, methods like masturbation. So if you want to get rid of the pressure, you have to channel it into something. You have to find an outlet. You have to move. You have to be active. You have to do what you said you would. And that then is what we generally consider as being true. So we're trying to lose the politician's way, which is you use words to sell stuff to people, and then you do something else. Because standing to what you've said is actually an act of courage. It's actually an act of courage. And I'm just seeing my way through where I can actually combine everything. Where I can pick up the stuff from my parents, and where I can go to the park and meet someone and actually show what I'm doing, take my slackline even, and then just make it a worthwhile experience. So simply combining lots of things together. And so this video is devoted to doing things out of your own strength. Okay, you acknowledge the fact that you yourself are psychedelic. And you see your way through on a daily basis, and you tackle challenges, and you find out where it's gonna lead, right? And that's what life is actually about. Now, if you look at Terence, you realize he was also often alone, but he clung to this, you have to take psychedelics or otherwise we will never manage. And he also stuck to this mentality of his where he said, well, I don't have to work for how I feel. I can just, I can just take something. While, what you're trying to express is a feeling that comes from the inside, which should be natural and which should come out of yourself. And what I have learned and had been guided to learn, or have been guided to learn, or to see, simply by looking at it, is that we have all these things that we cling to. Right? Oh no, I need food, I need this, I need that. But the more I eat, the fuller I get, and the more heavy I'll feel. So one thing that in spirituality we actually learn is that sometimes it's nice to just eat less and to learn doing things just from your natural strength. And that is then also, right, you have this life of comfort, and being comfortable, it keeps you like stuck in this fear of the comfort being taken away. It's like this apartment. Oh, I feel so comfortable in it. But if I leave it, I'm also afraid it's going to be taken away. Somebody will take it from me. Somebody will do whatever. What's it really matter? I have a mission. Now I know I got to do it. But I have to do it in my own way. And there are things I just don't want to do today. And then there are other things which I do want to do. But sometimes you also have to pull yourself out of certain relations. So sometimes it's like you need more distance to family relations. Sometimes you realize you need more distance to the internet. And sometimes you realize, I think I need some distance to coffee. And then you realize, and sometimes you think like, I need some distance to what we call psychedelics, which are to me just activators of certain energy centers. But the thing is, if you forcefully open such an energy center, all kinds of stuff will happen to you. And what you will learn is that if you keep doing this, it's actually taking away your ability to cope with life without these aids. Because now you take something, you think it makes you feel good, but what it does is actually, it just shows you a different way of feeling. And now what I have done is, I have had my fair share, and I'm never telling anyone to do psychedelics, I just have to say this, because as a creator, you have to be responsible. I have done things in my life, and now you can say, look at where it got me. But it also got me through hell, because I felt really shit for a long time, or kind of like mediocre. And then I took lots of psychedelics, and suddenly I boosted right through the sky, and then came from heaven, and I landed in hell. And then I had to build myself up from the ground, right, with ayahuasca, with mushrooms. I completely destroyed or disintegrated who I thought I was. I lost all concepts, also of time, of everything. I was basically lost. Like I wanted to lose myself, and this is how YouTube started. Sometimes I just left messages, I lost myself to find myself, is because I was already lost, and then I had to really lose everything. And I kept losing, and I realized, wow, I kept losing all the old stuff, but new stuff came also, but I didn't really trust it. It was like, wow, I don't know if you're gonna hurt me. Because I got hurt a couple of times, emotionally. Just being thrown out and stuff, pushed around. And that's basically the story of my life, and I just said I never want this again, so now I'm kind of hesitant to open up to anyone ever again. It's like, I cannot love you anymore. Well, at one point I simply started to say that to psychedelics. I just said, I cannot love you anymore, mushroom. I cannot love you anymore, whatever, ayahuasca. And I simply started to open up to myself more and to work on the concepts. Also, I had a friendship of what does it mean to be a man? What does it mean to be a woman? You know, these kinds of things, the stuff that actually matters. Because if I sit here and I have these, you know, my third eye is open and I see all of this stuff and, you know, reality is flashing into my face, you know, there's like energy suckers on the other side, or whatever Terence McKenna called the elf machines, self-dribbling basketballs. I mean, to me, life became a little bit more serious, and I realized, well, this kind of party mentality is kind of going. Because I've had some fun, and I saw where it got me. Like, I followed fun for some time, and I realized, well, it's gonna get you in a very uncomfortable position, my friend. Right? Unwanted pregnancies all over the planet. Just because people try to escape from themselves and run into another fleeting high. So I'm still hopeful that I found my spiritual wife, but there's no proof here other than that I feel her on the other side sometimes, and sometimes she's just gone. And now I'm just trying to feel my way forward into who am I as a man. And what I found was that one thing that makes a hell of a lot of difference is whether you eat a lot of sugar or not. That actually makes a lot of difference. How you engage with yourself. I realized as a man, it actually helps me. It does me good to have bitter. But now I feel insecure again. Now I'm wondering, okay, what does it mean now? I mean, what does it mean? What am I supposed to do today? I have all these things now. So my way, losing Terence's McKenna's way, was simply choosing against smoking, which is something he clung to. But I realized if I just breathe, I can just maintain this space. So I don't actually have to smoke anymore. I can just keep on breathing, and that's it, right? Plus, eating mushrooms, I realized, well, any mushroom will grow into your system and take over your mind. And so I stopped with mushrooms because I realized how dangerous they are. And then which is why I cleansed with inorganic sulfur. So I got back to, you know, Terence's way was about, you know, I need psychedelics to feel this way. But he actually never did any sadhana, you know? If I feel like I'm missing something, I take a broom and I sweep the yard. I sweep the yard. And sometimes I feel like, I mean, I work with diet much more to assist my spirit in reaching its full potential so that I can realize myself in this lifetime, whatever that means, right? Whether I'll be reborn or, I mean, the way I see it, I'm being reborn almost every day. So my way was away from Terence McKenna because I listened to him a lot, but instead of just worshiping what he said, I actually listened to what he was saying and also what was behind what he was saying. That he was kind of just advocating or advertising the mushroom because he actually kind of like fell in love with it. And he always said that the mushroom said to him, but who says it's the mushroom? It's probably something else. He just always thought it was the mushroom, but it wasn't the mushroom, it was something else. So how that works is really hard to say. All I can say is that I no longer wanted to be manipulated into, you know, some people, they become like sperm donors to women that cannot get pregnant. And some people just become hosts for fungi, eating sugar to keep them alive. Because the fungus is actually drowning out their consciousness, is taking over their mind, and then they eat the sugar to satisfy that. You know, you can see it in all kinds of levels. I've realized once I started with anorganic sulfur, I was already cleaning up my mind again. And that's the best thing I can tell anyone to do. Just clean out your system from things you don't want. And I've been actually fighting against this fungus that I have in my mind, because it was weakening my strength. It was literally trying to take over. And that's just something weird and something I just cannot accept. So I found my way out more into ketogenic. But, I mean, apple mousse is still a great source of energy. So now I have these jobs. So there is in this house, there's some problem with a leaky balcony. And I kind of said, you know, I think I know someone. The problem I have, that I have trust issues. And he has as well. And then there's always the fear of being gay, right? Which I know I'm not, but you never know. And then suddenly you land there and you're like, damn it, now what happened? So what I'm jumping into is simply work, lots of work. I'm just working a lot. But if I only am inside and I work on the computer, then I also lose track of what's actually important. So I have picked up certain kinds of community service because I felt like it was necessary to bring about change and to actually just work hard and pick up, you know, where we left off. Okay, I'm going to stop this recording and continue along the road. perspective matters.
What looks funny to you is dead serious to me. That was the message Terence McKenna got from, whoever was talking to him. Do not give way to amazement. Take it serious. Well, he never did. Or so it seems. One thing you have to remember is that we live in a world where in life always, you need to be flexible. Right? You need to do your thing. Sometimes I blend in, sometimes I stick out. If I want to advertise what I'm doing, I just do it. And that's it. For everyone to see that's what I'm doing, I'm doing it anyway. But sometimes there are things which you do need to take care of. No, otherwise it's just gonna be shit. Okay.
Weiß ich, aber hör mal, du läufst ja durch Aluminiumspäne.
Seit 13 Jahren.
Okay.
Ich habe schon Alpin gemacht.
Was macht dir das nicht?
Ja, also es ist für jeden eine Wohltat.
Nur den Scheiße, das ist go out of my way, not even for YouTube. This is my way. I'm just recording it to show how much strength you need if you actually want to continue as a spirit. Let go. You don't need life to cling to. It's not like I want to leave. But in order to stay, things needed to change. Space for me. Otherwise I would have died out. Everything I learned with me. So I said different times, different measures. This is what we need. People who actually do the work.
instead of escaping into another session of bliss. I mean, I've spent enough time listening to Terence McKenna. I know some of the things he did. I mean, he basically admitted that he raped a girl in true hallucinations. There's this sequence where he just explains it. He gave her drugs, and then he used her, and then he just left her there. She had no idea who she was. What happened to her in the end? Probably went into an insane asylum. But why never use your powers to tell people to take anything? You take it if you want to. You offer it, but then it's their choice. They'll have to live with the consequences. Nobody ever forced me. I did what I wanted to. I never, right until I stopped wanting it. And then I worked hard to stop with it. But then I had to work hard. Ever harder. Which is why this clearly works. Because you cannot do YouTube when you're weak. You cannot be creative and channel energy when you're weak. You have to, right? You need stability, which is why I started doing this. And it may sound weird to some. To me, it was something that actually turned my life around into something bearable. This is what you need, a challenge. I saw a challenge and I accepted it. And then you do it for nature, you do it for love, you do it because you believe in it, you do it because you realize everyone you know also needs stability. And the state cannot give it to them. Because who's the state to your father? The state to your father is then a caretaking home. But to you, right? What's it to you? I mean, he's the man who raised you, who wiped your ass, who kept you alive. Now you want to tell me you hate the guy? It's like, what? No, man. You have to learn how to communicate. For that you have to spend time learning about emotion, what energy is, and what people do and say, and read between the lines. That's the message that you receive from ayahuasca. That's the message all these psychedelics try to tell you. Start living. You can feel incredibly good if you put in the work. If you carry your bit and move into the future, wherever the future is for you. That's then when you've got the freedom of choice. What do you have available? What do you have, to work with? What's the state of your family like? Does your family have lots to give or nothing? Is your country just coming out of trauma from war? You get what I'm saying, right? Your deck of cards. You gotta play with it. No chickening out this time. It's dead serious, my friend. You need to pick up. There's times when I like smoking. the times where you're smoking, you would actually do something else that cleanses. Because smoking is holding on. Unless you do it right, and only for some time. Just to see, you know, what's on the other side of the veil. That's where psychedelics could help. If done at the right time, and with the right mindset, for the right reasons, with the intention for healing, spiritual growth, that kind of thing. But never at the cost of others. Always for life, for nature. So yeah. People are super willing to let go, and they just push it. But there's limits. You cannot push beyond what is available. Sometimes you want something, but it cannot be given because it first needs to be earned. So I needed also to earn the respect from my parents to show them, hey, I'm still here, right? So they're happy that I'm still here and in good spirits, carrying my own shit. And then if your family has some kind of like financial thing, you cannot go there and ask them for it. You can just do the work, whatever you feel the work is sensana, and then that's it. The work that you're doing, whatever it is, it's like doing the dishes, sweeping, whatever, cleaning the house, cleaning the windows, sorting all out your emotional shit, taking responsibility for the way you feel. That's part of the work. And you'll get stronger. Because that's what the industry took away, right? The industry was like, now we don't have to work anymore. Yeah. And that's when condescension worked its magic. You know, you think you can look down on something, but while you're looking down, it's like boom, life comes and gives you a, you know, hits you under your chin. You're like, damn it, and you're frustrated. I want the energy to flow, but it's not flowing, so I'll stop. Yeah. The moment you say that, your spirit just dies. So you have to continue. And ending it was never my way. So you gotta fight. This is an active struggle. That's life. An active struggle. And then you can quote Jerry from Rick and Morty. And you can say, life is effort and it'll stop when I die. Exactly. Of a natural cause or whatever. They wear shoes. There's no grounding. And the shoe corrupts the way they move. I mean, I have a lot of strength because I'm actually, you know, I have to walk properly or I'll immediately feel. I have to place my foot in a certain way. And because I do a lot of mind training also, you know, you work with the concepts you have of the things you're trying to improve or to let go of. So if you want to let go of smoking, you work with the concept behind smoking and you understand why people actually started to smoke. Well, because it felt easy. It's hard to say what smoking actually does. The way I explained it is that people just got a bit greedy. Because normally the way you should do it is put it like make an oil out of it and Terence McKenna clearly had some kind of like a screw loose. I never saw self-dribbling basketball machine elves. Never ever. I mean, I have seen certain things, but they were more like, kind of like down to earth, to a certain degree. If I would see, if I would see weird like self-dribbling machine elves, right, and I would call them like this, I'd probably do another anorganic sulfur cleanse. Because I did have, just with alcohol and meat, I had an experience like where everybody suddenly looked like an insect. Like seriously. And when I came back home I said, okay, reduce sugar, start with anorganic sulfur again, and they're gone. Because there was something, because mind is basically open space. And if you eat a lot of yeast and drink beer, you know, stuff comes in there. There's no way to explain it to you. You just have to accept it, because I'm telling you, that's how it is. And if I understand one thing, then it's mind, mindset, diet, balance, direction. Otherwise, why would I be doing this? Right now, I feel the same way that I used to feel then on ayahuasca. Everything is super clear, right? This is, you cannot even get close by recording this. You can say this is 4K. No, it's like, there is no 4 in front of the K, it's just life. It's super clear, energy is flowing. Both my eyes are open all the time. I don't blink. I actually make an effort to stop blinking. I call this open eye meditation. So Terence McKenna was always smiling. And he said, yeah, there's people who believe that you should do like flagellation. Yeah, it's called Paida Lajin, my friend. Like right now, energy is pumping through my veins. I feel, you know, the sauce, the stuff flowing through me. And I saw myself how I used to look like. It freaked me out. There was like all the energy, you know, why rich people or people who, you know, who say they have a lot of money, the aristocrats, why they have blue blood. Because it's cold. They've got cold blood. You know, they stopped believing in hard work. And real people who live, you know, in nature and do the hard work, they've got, you know, blood full of life, red, root chakra pumping through their veins. Like fire, tummo. You work hard, you gotta breathe. If I stop breathing, I'll never make it up that hill. You'll see. Yeah, it's a tight. I mean, it's tough. It's a tough ride. So losing Terence McKenna's way was simply a realization I've had from listening to it, but also meeting people, but also just knowing they exist, like Wim Hof. I mean, how did Gandhi did all of this stuff? Okay, he lost his teeth. You know, that's something I'm trying to avoid. I actually like having teeth. Also because I think it's kind of like unnatural. I don't know. So, if your spirit is doing fine, then your teeth will simply regenerate. But yeah, I mean, it's understandable that Gandhi lost his mind at some point. So he should have just continued. But yeah, I mean, if ignorance creeps in, then you're just done. And then you probably won't be defeated. It's just suddenly over. Right? If you're not paying attention, then that's why I spend a lot of time on my own, because I channel a lot of energy. Yeah, so I didn't want to do this, but when the camera is running, I just keep going. I know I've got food at home, and that's good. I'm gonna have some soup. And then I'm also pulling with my left hand on purpose, because if you're being raised right-handed, you have to work extra hard on your left side until you feel there's a balance again, and then wait till you meet your wife. That she's gonna be like, because it, you know, it's both together. Because you want to be balanced, then your life can be balanced, then your wife can come into it and give you a child, because she can actually look up to you as a protector. Here's what men used to be. You know, then it just went haywire. You know, stuff moving out, what? Stop doing things. Stop. You know, because they felt like, we've done it all now, we can stop. Now we've got cars, no need to walk. Now you're a cripple. You know, try healing that. It's possible. You just have to walk a lot in bare feet. On natural ground. And we push it through. Beyond what Terence McKenna saw. Past his ideology of just blasting off. So I generally also do not pay a lot of attention to other people. Aus, oder? Ist ja so eine Psychose. Yeah, people don't even see it. They see the horse making weird movements, they think it's too hot. society, because that's what psychedelics usually do, right? They show you something, and you have to spend hours, possibly days, figuring out how does it all connect. Why did you see this? So there's no use in comparing visions, because your vision is important to you. Nobody can explain it to you. You have to do it yourself, and that's probably one of the most important laws of nature. Struggle you live. For yourself. If you've got a vision, then it's your call. Nourish it. Bring it into reality, and that's what we call manifestation. You just have to work. Take responsibility for yourself. See that it works for you. Don't run after people to teach you. You do it anyway, and when they ask you, then you know what you're talking about. There's no use to read books about hero journeys. I mean, you may do it for some time, but then you just do it. Just do it. So, yeah, I mean, in a way this is also a sacrifice. I've sacrificed my whole life. Why I just have to have fun all the time. Hey, nature is struggling. And so was I. And so I actually really started to struggle. Here I am. Super alive. This is one part of my life, okay? What you see here, this is one part of my life. If you get maybe 1%, less than that, you get an instance. Even if I record hours and hours of YouTube, you get an instance of my life. And you only get the nice bits. I mean, you never saw me, you know, like, dead end. Okay, you did in the beginning, but for YouTube you also have to do it kind of nice, right? This used to be normal. This used to be everyday work. There's people who do this every day. You have no idea how much strength farmers used to have. Now they're just fat. And that's the message. Don't eat meat every day. You know? Maybe they actually used to never eat meat. Right? That's it. But it's people that wanted it, right? They wanted to get more lazy and lazy. They wanted to become weak. But there's no life anymore. You gotta fight. So that's the one thing I knew when I was a child. I said, that's not it. This is not life. What they're showing here, this is just ignorance. It's just pure boredom. Gossip is boredom. Yeah. Being lazy. It's using others. Yeah. You're in for a tough ride, my friend. This is not the easy road. There will be no machine elves. Right? There's just the hell you started from, and now you have to grow out of the rubble. It's always been that way. Now there's just a lot of rubble. It's like a couple of generations of industry, laziness, you know, digging holes into shadow. Cheers. They're not. You know, they think like they're surfing the green wave. No. I know where you're gonna land. You're gonna wish you kept on cycling. Actually, you're gonna wish you just started hiking and worked for it. I already doubted cycling, but then I stopped because I realized it's better to just get used to walking. Because I was sick of worrying about flat tires. You know, it's like you see somebody eating in a McDonald's restaurant and everybody knows it's shit, but everybody wants to do nice and do good and be respectable. But not if you eat that. You know, I can respect you if you know how to cook a good meal. But if you go to, how can I respect you? So I was standing in front, I was like, thumbs down. And there was this kid sitting, he was like, ugh. You know, it's like, most people don't expect it. They're like cycling, I'm in a good mood. And then you come and say, electric bikes are stupid. It's like, bah! It's like, Like, just slap your face, you know, have some suffering. I mean, it's the truth. It's the truth. You cannot expect everyone to like you for this. You think you're doing good, yeah. Where do the materials come from? There's a price for everything. There's probably a price for me recording stuff on YouTube. What's the price? Well, I'm being haunted. And I'll be haunted for the rest of my life. But I accepted it. It's better to do it like this than to act like everything's the way it's supposed to be, because it isn't. I've got more strength than I ever had, but literally no one to give it to, because everyone is too weak, too afraid, too stuck in their ways, too proud. Now my left side is struggling, I take my right. It's already much easier than the first time. Glad I did this. But yeah, you cannot do it all the time. I mean, this was like, I used to have really weak hands, and suddenly you start to realize you get the hands of a builder. It's hard to recognize yourself sometimes when you're actually doing sadhana. Sometimes you feel so weak. Well, so you have to strengthen your spirit and figure out what weakens it. And slowly but surely, placing one foot in front of another. You know, if you feel like hopelessness, you just breathe. And people say, why do you sigh? Because I'm suffering. So sigh better when you're alone. Das ist auch geil. I don't know what Bärlauch is in German. In English, it's like natural garlic. stuff. You know, I mean, you've got time. You just pick up where you are right now. Bit by bit until it's stable. Beautiful. I'm just saying, right? You gotta see your opportunity. You cannot use. You need to work with what is being freely given. And then you see your way out. You gotta be smart about this. You know, you stop fooling around. You pick a woman, you pick nature, you say, hey, at one point, the woman of my dreams or the man of my dreams is just gonna come into my life. But you start earning her already now. It's all about energy. You want a beautiful woman? Well, are you beautiful? Like truly? Can people rely on you? Can you create a safe emotional space for children to populate it? Right? You want a wild woman. Are you wild? Are you free? Nothing is ever just bad, and nothing is ever just good. It always has two sides. So if you say accept a fake remedy, then you know you gotta do it. Do your bit of the job, and that's all I'll say. Till the end of my days. Figure it out for yourself and then do it. I'm already annoyed now by the people and cars, you know. That's then part of the job also, right? So that nobody can come and say, you know, I'm gonna sue you. I'm just saying. Yeah, I don't really know how this stuff looks like. I think it's wheat loaf, meh. Okay, I think it's enough. Or, yeah, I'll just keep going. But sometimes if you get back into society, you sometimes worry about people actually damaging the gear that you use. Yeah, I'm just gonna turn it on.